Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. Today I wanted to talk about some kind of interesting news coming out of the LCS. Not like super surprising or super shocking, but it is something that we can kind of take and obviously kind of expand on, really talking about the whole TSM jungle situation in general. But obviously TSM and Spica announced not long ago that they were letting him explore his options. They were releasing him. He was going to be a free agent. His contract was about to expire anyway, but they were letting him go early so he can go, see what's out there for him. But during those times and during those posts and all that, Dominic Callis had still said, hey, we are still interested in Spica. We are still going to talk to him, make offers to him, all that stuff. And it sounded like TSM was still hopeful that, hey, maybe Spica will go check out all these other teams, check out all these other offers, find out that, hey, things are pretty good at TSM, or hey, TSM's giving you a pretty good offer, and that maybe he would still eventually find his way back home and he would still come back. And I think that's what a lot of TSM fans were kind of hoping for as well, because just because you're a free agent doesn't mean you can't come back. It's not like he is under contract with TSM and they kicked him, or he said, I want to leave or whatever. It's just, hey, they didn't come to a deal. Now he's a free agent. Hopefully he'll be able to come back. But apparently, at least according to this TSM Reddit post, I still haven't seen this clip or seen this video or anything, but apparently Spica said on stream that he and TSM are not in talks. And this is interesting because obviously Dominic Callis had said in the past that his plan or his goal for TSM this offseason is, I believe, to have a team signed during the first weekend of the offseason. This is when contracts actually expire, when the offseason actually starts in mid to late November or whatever. So, players that they're going to be signing less than 4 weeks from now, 2-3 weeks from now, you're probably going to be in talks with right now. You're probably going to be working on these deals, if not already starting to get some of these deals done, verbal agreement stuff in place, whatever. Otherwise, you're not going to get stuff done in that first week. And I don't think Dominic Callis is just bullshitting when he's saying that. But this is very, very interesting. Also there is the whole thing where, they had the TSM Legends where Spica was talking about, his time with TSM in the future, and the real emotional moments and the crying or tearing up or whatever the heck. So, in a lot of ways it has seemed like him and TSM have been ready to move on. But obviously Spica said, hey, they didn't even offer me that much more money. It's, I was willing to talk with them. They didn't get back to me about certain deals, and now they're not even in talks with him. So it's super, super weird. And we just need to get ready for the world in which Spica is going to be on a new team in 2023 and that TSM is going to have a new jungler. And that's what this Reddit post was all about. And I think this is something interesting I want to talk about as well. They say, hey, who do you think or want for the jungle next year? And that's what I'm wondering, because, yeah, who does TSM want? And I really do think this makes the whole situation even more silly or foolish or bad from TSM. A lot of people are saying, hey, TSM fumbled the bag with Bo, because Bo is actually, we had the Team Speaks Mandarin rendition of TSM this past year, but Bo is actually the most talented player from that whole group, a player that you could potentially build around, a player that you could potentially, have as a franchise player for years and years to come. And it seems like Bo had interest in TSM. It seems like they talked. It seems like there were some negotiations, but, ultimately he ends up going to Vitality. And then now TSM ends up with no Bo and no Spica and just a really kind of overall bleak jungle situation. But what's interesting about this thread is that a lot of the TSM fans are just super, super down bad right now. This guy literally asked, what do you think or want for jungle next year? The top comment is just a sad face. Personally, I think Spica is gone, but this could be trolling. I don't know. That'd be weird if he was just trolling. That doesn't really make much sense. I don't think that. Why? That's a bad troll. It's a bad joke. I definitely do not think that's the case. And then so many posts like this that are just kind of hard coping, yeah, they're not in talks because he's already signed the contract, ha ha ha. Or, people saying stuff like this. I really do find it hard to speculate in this offseason because it feels as if League of Legends is really done in NA after watching Worlds. And then this guy being like, hey, if TSM doesn't put together a roster that I think is competitive, I'm probably done watching in NA. And we have to scroll down pretty significantly far before we actually start getting some real suggestions for the TSM jungle situation for next year. Now, really, I don't think TSM is going to be all that strong next year, and I think a lot of signs point to many, many teams overall in the LCS, just spending less money and probably not going after as big or exciting or whatever, offseason pickups or offseason acquisitions. So it does kind of shrink the pool already a lot for TSM. And this guy says, hey, they could maybe pick up River to pair with Maple. That's always been an interesting one. Karza to potentially pair up with as well. Again, how good is TSM going to be next year? Should they be going after guys like River or Karza or whatever, or should they maybe be trying to go young? I kind of envision TSM more likely going the way of like a rookie or one of these academy players that's been doing really, really well, because there are actually some interesting academy junglers out there. Now, the issue with a lot of those guys is, hey, they're already under teams, they're on academy, and a lot of these teams are going to want buyouts for these players and all that, and is TSM willing to spend even that kind of money? Because I think that's been the issue with TSM in the past with some of these players in academy, like when we've thought, hey, Tenacity could be a good fit for TSM, or even before they got Chime, like, hey, Chime could be a good fit for TSM, or a lot of these other players. It's like, you're already taking a risk because these guys are young and inexperienced and unproven, but then with a buyout on top of it, it gets a little bit rough. But then you also see teams that have spent, big buyouts on some of these players that end up being really successful and performing. But it's definitely very, very risky. So who knows? But more doom and gloom, hate to say it, but we have a higher chance of folding than we do of signing a competitive team. People complaining about the LCS and how it's dying and shifting to weekdays and all this stuff. But really, at the end of the day, there's not a whole lot of suggestions that make sense. There are some people saying they'd like to see Sven Skaren come back. There is also the possibility of Santorin maybe coming back. But yeah, not a whole lot of really at any of these positions, but especially in the jungle, suggestions or players that really kind of stand out and stick out in my mind of hey, a guy that I really, really think that TSM should go after. So I'm definitely curious what you guys think. If you guys think that there is a clear number one favorite for being the TSM jungler in 2023, if like Spica is saying that, hey, him and TSM are not in talks right now, it seems like they're going to be going kind of officially different ways in 2023. And then as far as Spica, what does the future even have in store for him? I know he has said he would consider LCS and LEC offers. I know he seems to be leaning towards the LCS and would really prefer to get a good offer done there, but maybe some interesting LEC options could pop up. I'm not really totally sure, but now we have some rumors of maybe Doublelift wanting to come back. We have rumors of Bjergsen being a free agent. Do these guys want to all team up somewhere? Does two of them want to team up somewhere? Is Spica still going to consider Team Liquid, even if they don't have Bjergsen? Maybe Doublelift and Spica could go to Team Liquid, or would Spica just consider Team Liquid on his own? There's CLG, there's FlyQuest, there's 100 Thieves all of a sudden with Papa Smithy out and a new general manager coming in. There's just kind of all these different avenues, and this offseason is really, really hard because we really haven't gotten a ton of LCS news yet. We don't really know where anyone is going, and it's a whole thing of the dominoes that everybody always talks about. It's once one domino falls and everything starts going, and since we haven't really had a first domino, we don't really, have even all the pieces to the puzzle yet. This is going to be very, very interesting and big to follow. And I'm really excited that in the LEC and the LCS, we're having some really, really big and exciting free agent classes. You have Yankos available over in the LEC. In the LCS, you have, Bjergsen, Doublelift, Spica, all these big name guys. And these guys are going to be changing teams. Oduamne is a free agent over in the LEC. VTO is a free agent in the LEC. Potentially Upset and Hylissang are going to be available. We're going to have a ton of craziness going on, but right now we're just kind of playing the waiting game. We're waiting for some stuff to get going, but it does seem like Spica will be in that mix, and it does seem like TSM will not be on his radar for 2023. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Hopefully I catch you in the next one. Until then, peace.